Hi everyone, my name is Anne. Thanks for joining me on Art on the Creek and happy December 2023. Can you believe it? This year has just flown by. I'm so happy that you're here with me today in my studio in Parker, Colorado, as always. So thanks for tuning in. You know, this is the time of year when we look toward giving to others, and maybe some of those gifts find their way into our own lives. But for many of you who maybe have a watercolorist on your list, or maybe you're looking for something new for yourself, today I thought we could take a look at the Caran set of Pan Gouache. Now this one is really intriguing to me. I've seen a lot of people use it, and I've seen a lot of artists just kind of not be as happy with it. So I want to find out if we can be happy with it, because I think I have the solution to fix it. So let's go figure out if that's something we can do. Before we continue though, please subscribe to Art on the Creek if you haven't done so already by clicking on that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell too, so that you'll always know when I launch a new tutorial or a product review. Of course, if you do enjoy content like this, make sure that you give it a like, leave a comment, or share it with your friends. If you'd really like to take your art skills to the next level, I would encourage you to consider a membership with Art on the Creek. When you're a member or patron of my channel, your membership includes an extensive library of tutorials covering drawings and paintings of a variety of subjects, not just beautiful Colorado, and also in many different art media. You'll have full and unlimited access to an ever-growing members library of tutorials and reviews, as well as the opportunity to receive guided feedback and critique from me. And also, you'll have direct input into which art technique or medium you'd like to learn more about as a member, as well as access to free art supplies. All of that and more is included in your membership, and it's all very conveniently right here on YouTube. There is a link in the description below that will go over all the membership details. But if you still have any questions, just ask me in the comments and I'll be sure to help you out. Now, let's move on to today's subject, shall we? This review is a little bit different than some of my others because I've already opened this and used this. I'm not going to open it brand new for you guys. I'm sorry. My members did get to see that happen over on my membership platform. So if that's something that interests you, the demonstration that I'm going to do here for this video that is sped up, the members have a full-time tutorial of that. So that might be something that interests you, and you can check that out. What I want to talk about is this set of gouache. Now, many of you know I love gouache. And if you don't, I love gouache. I use it in the tube form because gouache is best when it's used right out of the tube. Having gouache in a palette, in pans, when it's dry is difficult to use, which for me, for the way I work as an artist, it makes it so that it's not as portable. This is something that I could handle carrying. It's a little heavier than a travel palette, obviously, because of its size, but I wouldn't mind carrying this out and working with it en plein air. So, or if I go to someone else's studio to paint, then that would be great to have this. So I'm really intrigued by this, and every time I've seen another artist use it, the colors have looked so sheer and so pale. And I think, I mean, you know, I might be wrong, but I think that they haven't prepped the pans before they've used them. So, and what I mean by that is just to simply take a spray bottle and spray the pans before use. Now, I'll give you a spoiler alert. I tried that with these and they worked beautifully. So I am very excited about this product. I love Caran. They're a wonderful company. They make beautiful products. And I wanted to love these, but I have put these off. I have so many Caran art supplies. They're, like I said, they're a wonderful company, but I have put them off because I just wasn't into this. I thought, you know, how is that possibly going to beat my Holbein gouache out of the tube? Now, I still do really, really, really like the Holbein gouache out of the tube, but I wanted to like this one. So let's get into it. Let's see what all this is, what all is involved here. Now, first of all, let me take this little sleeve off. It comes shrink wrapped, and then this sleeve here. And these are so nice because what Caran does all the time, let's see if this has an overlap somewhere that I can just lift off. Yeah. All of the time, Caran will include something like this. a way to swatch out and do a color chart. So the thing that is of value about this for me is it has the color names. Now, I have not been able to find any pigment information that will talk about light fastness other than this. Let me read it to you. Oh, let me get my glasses on because Caran thinks I'm a lot younger than I am. It says it is a 2-in-1 water-based paint, gouache and watercolor, which is kind of silly, really, because gouache is watercolor. It's opaque watercolor. It's a water media, so that's, that's marketing. That's okay. Unique manufacturing procedure for an unparalleled pigment concentration. Now that I did find to be true. They're very wonderfully pigmented. Natural plant-based binder with no plasticizer. 14 bright semi-opaque colors, watercolor effect is possible, good light fastness, and also available individually, which I really like. I mean, that for me, for what I use gouache for, that checks all my boxes. I don't paint in gouache and hang it on the wall. In fact, earlier in the video, I put up a pop-up text, but I want to make sure that you guys saw it. This is a student grade set. It's not marketed to be professional use, that you would say make a painting and sell it to someone so that they could hang it on their wall, which is great actually, because gouache is meant to be used for prints, really, and that's what I really like using it for. So if I'm going to just have this and use it in my sketchbook or be able to take it with me and do plein air with gouache, that is a huge gift, and for that reason I really wanted to like this product. So let's test it out today and see what we can figure out. So anyway, this wrapper here, it doesn't really say too much about the product that you're getting. It just talks about the bit that I read to you on the back, and it has the swatch here. This particular swatch, it will fit in here if we cut it, but the thing that I don't like about it, now remember I've already used this, so it's already been opened. The swatch that I would like to have would correspond with this 2 rows. So this has 3 rows, 3 rows, 3 rows, and then 2 rows. So I'm going to make my own color chart for this, and we're going to use that when we swatch these out. Now, like I said, I've already painted with them, but this case is beautiful. It's so strong, so thick, and it has these beautiful indented areas to mix in. The printing on here is not a distraction. I thought it would be. I was really hoping that this inner metal part here would come out, but I don't think it does. Pretty sure it's just in there. This part comes out though. It's plastic. It's kind of hard for me to get it out, but it does come out. Let me get this so I can give me an assist here. There we go. So this comes out. See, this is what I want to come out, is this inner tin here, but it doesn't, and that's okay. At least I don't think it does. If you have one of these at home and yours comes out, let me know how you got it out in the comments. This is a number 7 plastic. Now I can see that it's a number 7, but it's strong. It's not as strong as, say, the plastic in your toothbrush handle or anything like that, but it's really strong. It's not going to crack. It's not going to bend on you. So this is a really nice plastic. All of these pans are sold individually, as well as this set here. So we have Caran color number 010 and the barcode. The pans are sold individually. I found them to be around $2.50. You can also get this set of pan gouache in an 8-pan formation, and they are also sold as tubes. And 010, that is the yellow. They just call it yellow. They don't call it lemon yellow. The lemon yellow is over here, this one, in color number 240. So the way that this is arranged, I'm going to leave it the way that they have it, but it actually doesn't correspond with the way that this is arranged here necessarily. So let's just set this aside, shall we? This watercolor paper here is by Fabriano. It's only 25% cotton, but that's fine for gouache. One of the great things I like about gouache is that you don't need to use cotton watercolor paper. You can, but you don't need to. So if you are budget-minded, this combination of, a good paper that is cellulose or, not 100% cotton, plus this set, great combination. When I make my swatch sheets for my palettes, I just use the regular paper, and I'm cutting it in half lengthwise here. It just so happens that it's going to fit in here great. All I will have to do is punch the corners with a rounded corner punch. I really like having this little tool. I got it from, I think, a big box craft store, but it's got 3 different sizes of rounded corners that you can make, and I have really relied on this for my palette swatches that I keep inside my palettes. I'll put a link to this little tool here. It's just so convenient to have because with those rounded corners, your swatch sheet is going to bump around and slide around in your palette, but this way those corners won't get all dinged up. So I have found this to be a very beneficial little accessory. I love that they give you a tube of white, because you really do go through white and black an awful lot when you use gouache, because that is how you can easily change your colors from lighter to darker in value. Whenever you're working with gouache, I really recommend a 2-welled water vessel because you're going to end up using a lot of water. It just gets really dirty really fast. So it's just something I recommend. This particular one is from Meaden. I didn't think I would like it. I love this, you guys. I have a coupon that I can give you in the description below on this one. I used to just use a jar, and now I'm using this every single day. I love that water vessel. Oh, I didn't tell you before we get to swatching. These always come with a little bit of history of Caran about how the box is the iconic red and that they've been around for over 100 years. And they also give you these little stickers. Here. Good enough. That's my plan. That's how I'm doing it. You can do yours however you like. And now finally, we can get to swatching these. My trick for making these work is to prep the pans, and I'm giving them a good douse of water. They reactivate really well, but they really need to be pre-moistened, given that activation time before you use them, because otherwise I just think they're a little bit frustrating, a little bit dry. That's it. That's my trick. I always tend to land about 50-50 as to whether or not I'm going to prep my watercolor paints and pans before I use them. But these definitely, they need to be prepped. And you can see these colors are very vibrant. They're very rich. They do work. You can also see they're a little bit streaky. That will attest to their student grade quality, which is not a fault. It's just one of their features, one of their aspects, and it certainly won't impede your joy or your ability to use them in a sketchbook or for practice work. So there you can see they're really not too opaque. The brown one is opaque, and the black is actually a little bit transparent. The yellow ochre is a little bit more opaque, the malachite green. But for the most part, if these are to be considered just as watercolor, which is kind of how they market them, they are semi-opaque at best. Let me go ahead and get these dried. That's certainly not a negative. Now let me show you, they do talk about a watercolor effect, using a watercolor effect with these. So let's just play around a little bit with that. And then I'll go into the speed paint and talk to you a little bit more about what I did. Just real quick, we can do a rose just to show you how easy it is to use them as watercolors. And then we can come in with the red and just do some simple shadings, simple wet on wet techniques. And we can certainly go ahead and add that to the stem here. This little rose doodle is kind of my go-to just to test a pan of paints, because I can always see how the colors will layer, how easy it is to do wet on wet, let things run, let things blend. These don't have a lot of movement to them, but they're very easy to use. And to do a gradient wash, that's no problem either. Let's just do that on the ultramarine. I'll show you how easy that is to accomplish. I guess I should say by easy to accomplish, I mean that this paint really does, it moves where you ask it to move. Those streaks, though, that is a real telltale sign for me that this is a student grade paint, and I don't expect it to be anything different. I've let that sit overnight, and here you can see the rose all dry, the purple wash and mass tone where we did the salt, and then of course down at the bottom we have the ultramarine where we did the wash, added the water, and then added some salt, and that is just table salt on both of those. So yeah, you can do all kinds of watercolor effects with these and not be limited at all. The paper that I'm using for this today is by Hahnemühle. It is their bamboo mixed media paper, and I have fallen in love with this paper. The brush I'm using is a Taklon dagger brush. And then I'll go in again with the Taklon liner brush as well to do some of the details in the end. But you can see you can use layers, you can use different thicknesses of washes, and really mixing these tones and colors, but not mixing them completely in the palette, because I really want them to have that opportunity to mix and play on the paper, just like I do when I paint with watercolor. All of these techniques are very similar to what you would use with watercolor. However, with gouache, for those of you who are familiar with painting in acrylic or oils, you can work with gouache much the same way that you do with those mediums, because, or pastels for that matter. It's an opaque medium. So even though these are technically not opaque, they're semi-opaque or still somewhat transparent, you will be able to do all of those great techniques with them, in addition to all your watercolor techniques. So dry brush, wet into wet, wet into damp, any kind of charging colors together on a wet surface, all of these will work for you with this gouache set. And you've got that advantage of having an opaque medium so that you can go lighter colors over darker colors. And when I was working on this, the door knocker section here, it was very easy to just add little minimal shadows and have that be the suggestion of the detail in the door knockers. So just really had no trouble whatsoever creating this door, having it render pretty much exactly how I wanted it. And I used 3 brushes for this entire piece. I used the brush that came with it, which by the way is a really nice brush. It's a number 8 round and it has a lovely point on it. I think this paper is particularly good with this gouache. To be honest with you, I think this paper is particularly good with just about everything that I've tried it with. I'll link to everything in the description. There'll be affiliate links below. This is, again, the Hahnemühle Bamboo Travel Journal. I am loving this mixed media paper. It could absolutely be my go-to. If I couldn't get a hold of cotton watercolor paper, or for some reason didn't want to use cotton, this would be the one that I would definitely use. Let's just take the tape off here and see what we've got. So right away you can see that this worked exactly like a gouache painting should work. No surprises, no sudden hurdles to overcome. This little set is so portable and so easy to use, and I was able to render that detail in the wreath itself. I don't see any problems with this set. I think that the reviews that I saw prior would be the ones that maybe didn't just simply spray those paints with water before you use them. And once they're sprayed with water, they'll be, consistency-wise at least, exactly like a gouache that you find in tubes. Now, are these as joyful to use as my Holbein tube gouache? No, they're not. But they really are wonderful to practice your work, to work in your sketchbook, to create a print for a greeting card. By the way, this one would make a good choice for that. And of course, your prints aren't limited to greeting cards. You could certainly make an 8x10 or a 5x7 or whatever size you like and sell this as a painting. Well, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If this is something that you would like to see in real time as a demonstration and tutorial, that is over on my membership panel, and there is a link in the description below that will tell you all about those memberships. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye now.